I've owned the Moto G4 Plus now for over 2 weeks. It's about time to put a review out. Let's do this. I've been using it exclusively as my primary phone, my daily driver, and I've been pretty happy with the results. Now, everybody uses their phone in a different way, so your mileage may vary, your results may be different, but I'll tell you how I use it, and you can take that basis and go from there. The Moto G4 Plus variant that I've been using came in at $330 after taxes. At $330, this phone comes with 64 gigs of internal storage, 4 gigs of RAM, a 16 megapixel rear camera with laser and phase detection autofocus, and a front fingerprint reader / scanner. That's what this Moto G4 Plus differentiates itself from the Moto G4. So the first thing I want to talk about is the design of the phone. The design is simple but customizable. You're pretty much getting a phone that is made of plastic here. The rear uses a rubber type backing. In my previous video, I said the rear felt like it was soft, like a velvety even kind of touch, and I kind of stand by that. You still have the Motorola dimple here. The G4 Plus here was customized with a black back and a metallic ocean trim. Now the frame of the phone is plastic, there is no doubting that, especially when you pick it up. The power lock button is textured so you can differentiate it from the volume rockers, and the buttons are tactile. It's not the most tactile I've ever seen or felt, but it works, and it works decently. It's not bad or anything. 3.5mm jack up top, micro USB at the bottom, and then to access the SIM tray and the micro SD card for expandable storage, you're going to need to remove the back cover here. Once you pry it off, SIM card here, micro SD card right there. Back cover pries off real easy, snaps back on just as well. Fingerprint reader is fast and it is accurate. I haven't had issues with it. The display is a 5.5-inch 1080p LCD display. I haven't had any issues with the phone when it comes to the display. I feel like the angles work really well. The viewing angles, I mean. Yes, it is 1080p. It's not 1440p. It's not Quad HD, but it works well for me. It's not something that I notice. As far as performance goes, this phone uses a Snapdragon 617 processor. It is a slower processor than the Snapdragon 800 series processors, like on the OnePlus 3 or on the newer versions of flagships like the Samsung Galaxy S7, HTC 10, LG G5, so on and so forth. But my experience in performance has worked well. Now, my usage is different. I am not a gamer, so I don't use games on my phone. I'll show you real quick what I use. Again, real basic apps, Airbnb, Amazon, I use Chrome a lot, Facebook, Instagram, Netflix, Snapchat, Sonos, Yelp, YouTube, that kind of stuff. So more basic things, not heavy, intensive kind of CPU, GPU usage, but I haven't experienced any lag. But I've read that there are issues with overheating when gaming or using something that is more CPU, GPU heavy, but I really haven't had that experience. I haven't really run into that. For the most part, for me, I've just been able to get through my daily things, my social media and everything without any issue. So again, in my experience, the 617 works well. For you, it might be different. It might be different on what you use on your phone, how many apps you're using, all that kind of stuff. As far as battery goes, the Moto G4 Plus uses a 3000 milliamp hour battery. On average, with mixed usage of Wi-Fi and LTE, I get about 4.5 hours of screen on time, and I might be pushing it when I say 4.5 hours, so I would say it's more like 4 hours and 15 minutes of screen on time as far as battery goes. And again, I'm just using basic apps.
The following is a photo quality test. All photos were shot in its native resolution. All photos were shot in full auto mode. Full auto mode.
All three of these shots came out decent. The Nexus 6P came in darker, but it looks more natural and is the only one of the bunch that didn't overexpose the sky where you can actually see the clouds. On an overcast day, the G4 Plus really gives off a darker, grayish look compared to the rest.
It looks like it ends up losing detail though in a shot like this. The greenery ends up more as dark shapes than anything else. In this crop set of pictures, the G4 Plus comes out looking soft, while the S7 is too over-sharpened for my taste. The G4 Plus and the S7 overexpose the picture here, losing the pink in the petals. The OnePlus 3 and the 6P show off its color. The 6P is a little too dark for my taste, but I enjoy the richness of the green. While the G4 Plus wasn't the darkest of the shots, it's still dark enough to warrant the picture unusable. The extra noise doesn't help either. The S7 and the 6P are my favorites in this set. While it might sound like I'm picking on the G4 Plus, I am not. The G4 Plus is a good, capable camera, especially at its low $300 price point. You have to remember, this phone is going up against the flagship phones here. I'm able to get decent shots indoors as long as there's a good amount of light, and even though it seemed to struggle with the rest of the pack on an overcast day, the shots still look good despite some overexposing. Just don't expect it to be a beast when it comes to taking pictures.
The following is a video stabilization test. All phones were hooked up to one rig to ensure a controlled environment. Environment. Another thing that I like about the phone is the fact that the front earpiece here uses a front-facing speaker. There isn't a bottom-facing speaker here like most phones use. It is right here on the top. And while it isn't the loudest, it performs well. Like past generation Moto G phones and Moto X phones, the Moto G4 Plus keeps a lot of the same things that its previous predecessors have had. Quick shortcuts like turning the camera on, turning the flashlight on with 2 chops, and then 2 chops again to turn it off. The phone also has Moto display. When you get a notification, you'll get something that pops up here. Let me go ahead and send myself a text. So when I get notifications, I get them right here. I can just turn this on, let go. It's a great feature that I'm envious of because a lot of other phones don't have things like that. Works well. I don't have to like pick my phone up to check and always unlock my phone. I'll get a little display here that shows me or a notification. And as far as software goes, software like previous phones on the Motos have been very clean, very stock Android-ish, or very stock Android-like is what I mean. Again, the phone didn't come with a ton of bloatware. Most of these apps here I've added myself. I didn't have to remove anything because it was pretty clean to begin with. The Moto G4 Plus is a solid phone. At its price though, at $330, I don't know if it is the budget phone to get. Maybe if you're getting the lower model with 3 gigs of RAM and less internal storage, or just getting the Moto G4. I don't know, but what I want to do now is I actually want to compare the Moto G4 Plus with the OnePlus 3. I'm going to pull this up again. The reason I want to compare it is because I want to talk about price. So the Moto G4 Plus comes in at $330, but the OnePlus 3 comes in at $399. And that's without tax, so this is the price you're getting. You're getting this phone for $70 more, and I just want to talk about what the differences are here, just to help you decide if maybe one phone is a better price point than the other. So off the bat, the OnePlus 3, as far as design goes, this has an aluminum metal body over the plastic body that the Moto G4 Plus has. The nod definitely goes to the OnePlus 3 here. When we're talking about build quality of the phone, you really can't beat that metallic finish. Now, you do have the customizability of the Moto G4 Plus, so if customizing your phone is important, then this is a better option for you. You don't have that choice on the OnePlus 3 here. This is the only one you get. But at $70 more, here's the other differences that you get. Instead of the 617 Snapdragon processor that comes with the Moto G4 Plus, you're getting the 820 here. Instead of 4 gigs of RAM, you're getting 6 gigs of RAM. 64 gigs of storage on the Moto G4 Plus, but you also get 64 gigs of storage on the OnePlus 3 here. As far as camera quality goes, you're gonna have to take a look at the pictures here and decide for yourself. But when it comes to video, the OnePlus 3 can record in 4K, and the Moto G4 Plus cannot. The OnePlus 3 also has a fingerprint reader, has the same size battery, both have turbocharging or fast charging, or dash charging for the OnePlus 3. What I'm trying to say is that, yeah, there's a $70 price difference, and some people might not be able to afford up to $400, maybe $330 is your budget. But the reason I bring it up is because I want consumers to see that you do have an option. If you spend a little more, you can get an 800 series Snapdragon processor, which might be more important to you if you want to do more gaming, if you do more multitasking. There is also more RAM here, and the build quality is a level above than what the Moto G4 Plus can give you. Again, at the end of the day, it's your money. I'm just here to offer the facts, what I see, how I feel about it. I almost forgot, I have to point out that the Moto G4 Plus also has expandable storage. Its speaker is up on the front too, so if that's important for you, keep that in mind. The OnePlus 3 does not offer that, doesn't offer expandable storage. It doesn't have a front-facing speaker, although its bottom-firing speaker isn't bad. This is a 2-week review on the Moto G4 Plus. Again, this isn't a review on the OnePlus 3 or that the OnePlus 3 is a better phone. I just wanted to put it out there because these are comparable prices, and I want consumers to know that you do have a choice here. $70 might not be a lot to some people. $70 difference might be a lot to others. Again, at the end of the day, it's your money. It's what's coming out of your wallet. But if you have one or the other, let me know what you think. I'm curious.